What up, guys and girls? Another brand new video coming at you today. Yes, we are back again for another round of AOR Oceania F1 for season number 4. It is the finale here, as you can see here on your screen. We're here for round number 10 here at the Brazilian Grand Prix as we make our way out onto the track. Here's the reminder of the championship standings if you haven't already seen it so far. So Fens was crowned champion last time out in Japan, 33-point margin I think it is, over HO there in P2. We're currently in P11, so we've still got a lot to play for in this final round of the season. Ferrari also claimed the Constructors' Championship as well, last time out ahead of Sauber. Toro Rosso down in currently P8. We could actually get as maybe as high as P7 in this final race of the season. So, I mean, yeah, it's the end of the season. Obviously, it's the end of the season anyway, so, I mean, not much really to play for. Only like the little minor placings, but of course, obviously, we're still, like you saw then, we're just outside the 10 in P11 in a Drivers' Championship. So, I mean, I'd really like to finish off the year inside the top 10 because that'll make it pretty much back-to-back top 10 finishes since I moved up to F1 back last season especially. So, we're going to stay aboard here for these, well, pretty much my 3 runs. Oh, sorry, 4 runs, I should say, actually, but I will explain actually what happened in the later runs anyway, but this was lap number 1. Not the greatest of laps anyway. It was only a banker lap. It is overcast conditions as well, so I mean, if you go back to SRL, what happened there, and there's just the wet weather pretty much came out of nowhere. Well, pretty much it's any case scenario really for what could happen a bit later on in this race. But you can see we're using every single bit of road there and every single track coming into turn 12 there. You can actually get away with it by getting onto that grassy patch. And I did notice that while I was watching videos from past times, past seasons actually, that you could get away with it going down there, especially and you don't actually lose the car. But first lap is done and in the books. We set a 1 minute 7.985, which currently puts us in position number 5 at the moment. So not a bad, pretty decent position at the moment. We do drop back to position 6 as we just run a little bit too hot there going into turn 10 there. Yeah, that was all fine and dandy, no dramas there, but come back into the pit lane and someone's already taken out the pit lane speed limit board. So I had no idea where the braking, well, not the braking point, but where the pit lane line was. So they pretty much sped into the pit lane. But I mean, it doesn't really matter in qualifying wise. You sort of get away with it a little bit, but race wise, yeah, not so lucky anyway. But anyway, we're going to go onto the second set of super soft tyres.
So far, our fastest lap is a 1 minute 7.9.
So New Zealand Ryan currently leads the way at the moment. He did win this race this time last season. Is just ahead of V-Fans and Prez, doing a pretty decent job as well in position number 3. There was obviously a few little issues for this lobby as well. We had, well, HO, who's usually doing the lobby host for the last couple of rounds, obviously because Big Chungus, or Warden is better known as, was missing. So obviously with HO having a much better internet, I gave him, being the T coordinator, I gave him the opportunity to host the lobby. So we did have a few issues to start with. I think we were about, I can't remember, 10, 15 or even 20 minutes late, so because of that. So it all started out with HO. He had a proper lobby, but then all of a sudden he just disappeared off our screens as they actually invalidate the second lap time there. But we're going to continue on here because I wanted to get a bit of a understanding of like what pace we've got up our sleeves here. It's actually go purple there through sector 1, but yeah, it was all very weird there for some unknown reason. Don't know what on earth was happening there. Whether it had something to do with HO himself, because he was also streaming at that same time as well. Whether something weird that happened there, I don't actually know. But we had to obviously reset the lobby, and obviously there were a few people that were having trouble getting into the lobby because of, well, I think it mainly had to do with the game. So I even asked everybody to like sort of either like restart the game, well, some people you can restart the game and get away with it, others you can restart the lobby. My teammate was also having a few issues in getting into this lobby, said lobby, so I think he had to do a restart of his Xbox and start again actually. But we're going to come across the line here for what should have been the lap number 2 anyway. But you can see there we actually went about a 10th quicker, 107.7. So I mean, I probably made a few little errors along the way. Yes, albeit I did invalidate the lap time anyway, so probably didn't matter too much there as just to stay ahead of there of the Mercedes going out. I think that's HO actually, the only Mercedes out. But teammate did actually, if you're wondering, he did make it out into the lobby, but albeit he may be put into a random cast, which is, look, it's a bit of an issue, but hey-ho. Can't win these things anyway. So taking every single bit of fuel out and obviously getting onto the final set of super soft tyres. But see, there's a bit of movement around as well. HO hasn't set a lap time at the moment, but obviously there's not much really to fight for here for him because second in the championship, and obviously Alan Hugo is missing for this one as well. So I think second in the championship is pretty much wrapped up for him. So doesn't really need to do much. Could have a little bit of fun along the way for this final race here, but obviously making our way out here with about sort of 2.5 minutes to go here. Sort of gave myself a little bit of time just in case there were any issues. Well, not so issues, but if I did corner cut, validate the first lap, and I did put a bit of fuel in just in case there's something along those lines would happen. You see sliding through turns 1 and 2 there. I was up on the delta time there, but then I started losing time as there comes Laggy. Coming out of the pits very late actually, because I think he was one of the last ones actually making out of the pits as the other Haas I think off the road there. I think that's Rain off the road there, but yeah, the delta time just didn't really improve at all, so I just pretty much aborted that lap and just tried not to burn up the tyres a hell of a lot, just so I had something left, and especially for the race, as that's Mars Berserk I think that was off the road there, so it was not the greatest way to either start his lap or end his lap either way, but we'll stick aboard here because this lap 4 was actually my fastest lap of the quality sessions. Here we go into turn number 1, a bit of a lock up there going into the centre S's. Didn't lose the car too badly there, but I didn't want to cut turn 2 either, so because you cut that and it's easily your lap done anyway, so probably going to be one of the last runners anyway that's going to do a lap time anyway, but through turn 4, not running it out too wide because you can easily corner cut as well. There's a few cars just pulling off the road there. I think everybody's sort of retired now up into turn 6. I thought actually I didn't validate the lap time there through turn 6 I think, but anyway, continuing on through this sort of slow section here, 8 and 9. Just trying to get a bit of the drive out of here, running as wide as we can to the curb. Get a bit of a lock break into turn 10, not take too much curb there, but you see New Zealand Ryan actually goes to the top there, but then it gets outdone by Fens, so I think Fens maybe have taken the final pole. Not the greatest of runs through turn 12 there, to be honest. Probably turned in way too early to that one and probably lost me a little bit of time here, but we're still sitting currently in position 10. We're going to see if we can improve, come across the line. We do improve by about nearly 4.5 tenths pretty much, but we only gained a 1 position up into P9, which, to be honest, I was really shocked about that one, to be honest, but yeah, I was a bit up in arms about that one. But anyway, we'll start from position 9. Obviously, Fens does get pole only just by 0.017 ahead of New Zealand Ryan. And there was all this banter going on in the Twitter chat that Fens said that he didn't set a 1 minute 6 lap time in his practice sessions, but then goes out and does that. So a bit of banter there maybe. But anyway, it's time to go racing here for the finale, the Brazilian Grand Prix. Alrighty, welcome to the grid for the final time for Season 4 here at the Brazilian Grand Prix. And yeah, let's just say it's been a bit of a up and down season all around, but under perfect skies here in Brazil. Race strategy-wise, even though it does say it's trying to put me on the 2-stop here, obviously just trying to get the right amount of fuel in the car, but again, pretty similar to what we did in SRL, and I think we're pretty similar to what we did last season as well in Season 3. You can go through my my setup through there, but not that it matters really much because F1 2019 is not too far away. But I'm going to stick with the one-stop strategy, super softs to mediums. Not sure how long we'll take the super softs, but we'll wait and see as we set off now for the final formation lap.
We're not seeing any technical issues coming off the practice start. Watch the RPM on the full start. We don't want to book down.
Yeah, thank you, Jeffrey. So, like I was saying before with Fens and New Zealand Ryan, I mean, there's a lot of Fens was talking up a bit that he was saying that he didn't...
No rain expected. No rain expected for the time being.
Yep, obviously no wet weather experience, but Fens was talking up a little bit in the Twitter chat that he was only setting like 1:07s in the practice lobby for a qualifying, and then he couldn't get into a 6, and he belted out a 6 in qualifying. So, I mean, make of that what you will. Whether that was just Fens that time, or whether that was just a bit of banter with he and New Zealand Ryan, because obviously with the Greek team Ryan thing from last season, it sort of carried over a little bit, you could say, from last season. But anyway, it is the last race, so let's see what happens at the front here. And let's see what happens here, because obviously still fighting for that top 10 in the Drivers' Championship. Obviously is that Matt, I think, just a couple of positions ahead of us. So it's key we get ahead of him here. So here we go. We're all set for the finale here at Brazil. 5 red lights. Let's do it around Sao Paulo, and it's a decent start coming off the line there. Berserk's actually got a fairly decent start going down to turn 1. We covered down the inside just make sure Press doesn't go to the inside. Nearly gets squeezed into turn 1 there by is that Matt there. So pretty much all you could say the gloves are off here, but I mean it's early days. So now trying to get the slipstream here of Matt, who top Banter's trying to go around the long way around here. Brakes as deep as you dare. I think he might have pulled it off there as we just told off Prez again.
That start was okay. Now stay alert.
Top
Threats around
Top
you.
Banter will try and get around the outside, or inside line, sorry, I should say. But we'll try and get a good run here. We're going to send it up the inside here into turn 8, because pretty much it's just me and Matt that are fighting it out for position 10 in the Drivers' Championship. Obviously, I think it's like a point difference between us at the moment. So pretty much I think whoever finishes ahead of each other, whether by a single point or whatnot, I think that's pretty much what the positioning in the Drivers' Championship will finish. But we do get ahead of Matt. He did put up a bit of pressure as well back into turn 10, but not really quite close enough in the end. So we do make up 1 spot out of the race start. So all in all, not too bad. I think everybody's been clean so far in this race. So
You're in the top 10 now. Keep it up.
but we obviously, like I probably have mentioned before, we didn't have the full lobby for this race. We were missing quite a couple of guys. Like I mentioned, Alan Hugo was one, R8 was another. Obviously, Big Chungus, obviously he's still making the move to Queensland, I think, at that stage. So yeah, we were missing quite a few guys, but it's still a decent lobby all round. But we're just obviously trying to catch up to Top Banter in the Force India here. So but just running a little bit too deep there, going into turn 6 there, and just managed to hang on to the time being as we got our first track extension, track limits warning, I should say. But
Race officials have
now
enabled
onto
DRS.
lap 3.
DRS is now available.
We're running a little bit too deep into turn 1 there, and I was sort of having a little bit early on in this race. I was sort of having a little bit of issues with the brake. Well, not necessarily my brake pedal on my normal pedals, but just the braking really. Just never could find a bit of a rhythm early on in this race. You can see I'm just locking up every which way. I'm thinking, what am I doing wrong? Have I maybe put too much brake pressure? So I mean, I changed the brake bias for this next bit up here, but you'll see going into here, I make a big front lock up here. Matt goes up the inside here, but I'm not quite done here as we go all the way back to first gear. I don't know why I did that in the first place, but you can see Matt does get the move back here. So I mean, I'm just trying to find a rhythm here with this braking as we. I swear I didn't touch Matt on my screen, but that may have just been him getting on the power a little bit too early, coming off the curb there. But anyway, you see a bit further on, I think Top Band is putting him to pressure on Mars Berserk. So we've got a bit of a gap behind, and obviously H.O., who started at the back of the grid, is actually starting on the medium side. So he's made his way up into 10th place. Now got the DRS here on the lap 4, going to go around the long way here, around the turn 1 here. There's a little bit of contact there, which I wasn't really thrilled about at the time, so I sort of gave him one back there. So sorry.
Okay, good work. Great pass.
Thank you, Jeffrey. But I'm sorry to Matt if that was a little bit too aggressive there. But I mean, wasn't overly thrilled about that being hit sort of thing in the turn 1, albeit it may have been a little bit light on my screen. But at the time, I didn't like it at all. But now we get well and truly ahead of Matt here, and I think we sort of dropped away from him here. well, he's dropping away more, like I should say, but now it's just trying to catch up to these guys ahead, because there's sort of a bit of a battle group forming up ahead. Obviously, I think New Zealand Ryan's still leading the way at the current moment here, but now come on to lap 5 now. You see, I think Matt's actually coming to the pit lane, so I don't know whether I gave him front wing damage from that or what, but he's now into the pits and having a bit of a change of tyres, maybe going on to the 2-stop strategy and maybe in the front wing change. So, I mean, again, I apologise to Matt if that was too aggressive, but I mean, wasn't overly thrilled at the time. But anyway, here's a replay from the start. So this is from a nice start actually from V Fence. Off the line very comfortably here, covers the inside line. No dramas compared to season 3 with Ryan and Greek. So maybe Fens maybe learned a little bit from that from last season. But anyway, he just ran a little bit too wide actually coming through turn 4 on lap 1. You can see Ryan straight away putting the pressure on him here. Going up into turn 6. Going to try a little bit of a crisscross here, but no, I think he slows the car down enough anyway. So this is now onto lap 3. Is Ryan trying to do the long way around here? Not really ideal here as Fens breaks deep enough there and gets a warning for his trouble, obviously. But Fens will know that Ryan will definitely have pace around here. You see Laggy as well. He's just in the background there. So Fens covers the inside line as you do here. Ryan going to go around the outside here. Can he break the deep as you dare? He can. I think he's actually got the move done. So that's how he got the race lead. So
be careful. We think you're going to start losing some tyre grip around now.
Yeah, cut a bit further on to lap 6 now. So there's pretty much not much happened on my end of the screen anyway. But now on to lap 7 now. You can see we're starting to close in a little bit more here on top Banter. It looks as if he's struggling a little bit on his super soft tyres by the looks of things. So, yeah, like I said, I was just pretty much driving around, just driving my normal rhythm. I think by maybe this stage or just a bit later on, I finally got used to the braking a little bit more. So, I mean, you can see now got a bit of pace up the steep. Berserk's actually started to pull away from top Banter. So top EV looks like he's really struggling on his sort of super soft tyres here. And I mean, I was just trying to, between pushing and managing these tyres, obviously, to the first pit stop, because I wasn't really sure, considering I did a lap extra on my qualifying run compared to what I usually do, which probably I should have only done one normal run. But anyway, there's going to be a case of wait and see whether we come in on the same lap as we did in SRL lap 13, I think it was, or whether we come in one lap early like most others did. So anyway, now into the DRS action here as we go on to lap 8 now. It's really starting to close in here, getting a little bit too close there. So we're maybe pushing a little bit too hard there. We got a little bit hot under the brakes, but managing just to avoid the back of top EV. But now we have a much better run here. Down in turn 4 here, and I mean, to be honest, I was expecting Tommy B to put up a bit of a fight here, but I mean, just trying to make room here, going side by side. We may have pushed him a little bit wide there, so sorry to Tommy B if that was a little bit too much of a push or of anything. But we now jump up into position 7.
Good job.
Thank you, Jeff. So looking great at the moment as we actually get our second corner cut warning there, and I sort of put them on myself here that I would try not to get another corner cut for the rest of this race. So anyway, we'll come to the end of lap number 8. I think Top Vance is actually coming to the pit lane, so would assume that he may be going for a 2-stop or maybe trying a ridiculous 1-stop. But I mean, if you burn up your tyres too early, then I mean anything's possible really. So but anyway, lap 10, cut a lap later. You can see Prez started to catch up a little bit behind here, so I mean, he's also got some fairly decent-ish pace by the looks of things, but just trying to do my own thing here, just driving to my normal rhythm. You'll see Prez got some pretty decent pace late on in this super soft run, and again, may have had something to do with my tyre wear as well. Maybe, I'm not entirely too sure, as we should not have touched that curve there and gotten the power a little bit too early there, but thankfully we managed to get away with that one, and we continue on. But back to the front we go here, and Fens putting a bit more pressure here on New Zealand Ryan. So Fens are going to try going around the long way, pretty much like what Ryan did on a few laps earlier. Trying the long way around here. Does he do it? Sliding the car into there, but just managing to just get ahead. And for the time being, he takes the race lead back, but he'll cover straight down the inside line straight away here, going down the pit lane exit as well. But Ryan will try it again around the outside here into turn 4. as he gets on the curb there as fans, and actually Ryan manages to do it, so he takes back the race lead. But great job all around from the guys at the front at the moment there. But lap 10, you saw the tyre wear starting to burn up a bit, but I mean, it didn't feel too bad. But you see now Perez is obviously now coming into the pit lane, so I wasn't sure whether he was going to try maybe a bit of an undercut on me, but we're still pushing on here. I mean, felt like the car still had some fairly decent-ish pace, but obviously old mate behind here, HO, on the in that Mercedes car. He's obviously, like I mentioned, he started at the back of the grid in position 14, and it's on the medium tyres, so he's going well and truly long in this race, and may even put the super soft tyres on later on, depending on how hard his tyre wear is, but we'll wait and see. There's a couple more guys in the pit lane. I think Laggy and Ryan were in the pit lane, but yeah, at that end of lap 12, I mean, it's just decided to let HO go. He's got obviously a lot more pace than me at this stage, and don't ask me where the hell I was going there, but we did pick up a bit of cheeky DRS as well, so see sticking out another lap compared to the guys behind here, so may look in good step for the time being anyway. But jump back here with a replay with this is Laggy coming into the pit lane. Braking is oh, you're kidding me. Just obviously didn't have the pit lane speed limiter flicked on at the right time. And obviously when he tried to accelerate, it's yeah, that's really unfortunate for Laggy. He's for Ryan obviously come in as well. But I think both have gone onto the medium tyres, so be interesting to see where these guys pop out. I think Ryan will have a bit of, maybe a little bit of fresh air. I'm not entirely sure there, but Laggy, where does he pop out here compared to, I think Kyle was just the car coming around the outside right about now. Here he is, so he's going to have to do a little bit of work to get past Kyle as quickly as he can here. As someone's off in the infield there. I think that's actually Master Berserk. Yes, it is. So I was wondering at the time what on earth had happened, but if you want to go back and watch the live stream, there obviously will be the replay of it back on the AOR, the YouTube channel. So
understood. Stopping this lap.
I took one look at the tyre wear, and I thought, yeah, I don't think I can go for with another lap. So we're going to come in at the end of this lap, but yeah, what happened with Berserk was I think he tried a risky dive bomb on I think it was Death Row on at turn 8, and didn't really work out. I think it was really a risky move, to be honest, to Berserk, and I think he may put it. I think he put his hand up afterwards to apologise to Death for that one. So, but anyway, we're coming to the pit lane now. There's a couple more guys into the pits. I think we've got Death Row in. We did hold Death up a little bit there with pit stops, so may have gotten a little bit of time on Death there. But anyway, I think the other guys were Fens and Rain also coming to the pit lane. So it'll be interesting to see where the leaders pop out compared to New Zealand Ryan, because I mean, top three were pretty much on their own and keeping an eye on each other, and Rain was just pretty much the watching brief there and seeing what occurred with the top guys. But we come out in position 12, obviously behind top Banter, but of course Toppy V's been on those medium tyres for, which I didn't realise at the time, he's been on the medium tyres for a bit longer than us, but we should have the pressure rubber later on. Here's Fens coming out of the pit lane, so he just manages to get ahead of New Zealand Ryan at the pit stops, and we've still got a bit of, well, you can say traffic a little bit, but obviously Conrad is still pushing on here because he's going the long way, the long run here on the set of soft tyres. But here comes Ryan. Here comes Fens covering the inside line here, straight into turn 1. Ryan going around the outside. Oh, it's a little bit cautious there with poor old Conrad. I think he's just making the sandwich a little bit there as Conrad, so he doesn't really want to get caught up in all of this here. So I think he's just going to pull to the side and let these two go by, which is good work from Conrad all around. But that could have been ugly, trust me. So anyway, begin lap 14 now. Berserk's now coming to the pit lane, so I think he had to stay out the extra one lap. I would assume he would have come in at the same lap as Fens. I would have assumed, but that's what you get when you have a teammate that's up a bit further up the road and gets probably the pit lane priority. But now we're closing in here on Kaiwas for the points. And obviously Kaiwas is another guy staking it out here on the soft tyres. We break as late as we do. I think actually Kaiwas may have got out of that one. So thank you to Kaiwas there. So he jumps back to P11. Still pushing on those soft tyres, and we're jumping up into position 10 in the points. Obviously we're closing in on top Banter as this is lap 15. This Fens tries to go around the long way.
seconds.
A little bit close for contact there with he and Ryan. There was a little bit of touching of wheels, only a little bit. But,
gap to car in front is 2.7
lap
seconds.
15, Conrod's now obviously coming into the pit lane here, but now we'll see we'll get an update here on Toppy B.
The gap to the car ahead is 2.1 seconds. They're on old mediums. Their tyres are 6 laps old. The time last lap was a 1 minute 11.4. They have a time penalty of 3.0.
Okay, that's critical there as Prez is actually out of the Grand Prix. Not exactly sure what happened to him, but I think he's retired and entered the pit lane, obviously. So yeah, I'm not unsure what really happened to Prez as a yellow flag there. I think that's the Renault of Calvo there. So yeah, what I was saying before, Top Banter's got a 3-second time penalty. Obviously, I'm on 2 warnings, so this stage is looking good. But what about Berserk behind?
Okay, the gap behind is 3.5 seconds. They're on fresh mediums. Their tyres are 2 laps old. The time last lap was a 1:10.9. They have a time penalty of 3.0. The gap to the leader is 21.3 seconds.
Yeah, the leaders are well and truly ahead at this stage, but yeah, Berserk's also got a 3-second time penalty. So, and also you saw my teammate, who's actually been put in the Mercedes for this one, has also coming to the pit lane there. But there's that yellow Renault car of Calvo in the pit lane there. So he's getting some stuff done to his car. So, but yeah, I made it a sort of like a target on myself, well, not a target on myself, but a challenge, you could say, on myself, that I would not get another warning for the rest of this race as there's yellow flags ahead. I think that was actually for Laggy. He may have had a little bit of a, well, a bit of got into the dirt a little bit coming off turns 12, 13. It's quite easy to do that around there. So setting a personal best lap time there on that lap 20. That's into the 10s, I think, from memory. I can't really work it out anyway, but we'll see here in a second. I probably didn't write it down, but you'll see it anyway on the top of your screen. But we set a purple second for 1 lap time anyway. But yeah, my teammate, who's obviously been put in the Mercedes for this one, because obviously joined the lobby late because of his few little issues. But yeah, he's looking pretty decent at the moment. To maybe get close to the points, you never know. But anyway, lap 21, you can see it's really starting to close in here on Top Banter here. And I knew literally only a little mistake, it would take a little mistake like that from Toppy B, and I would take that position. So he just got on the power, I think a little bit too early. He may have got onto the grass and dirt there coming off the exit. What did I say earlier on? It does catch you out quite a bit as now we take position 7 off Toppy B, who's now, I think, behind Master Berserk actually. So I think that medium tyres going on, well, he's been on those medium tyres, I think, for, well, quite a while actually. So he's really starting to feel the effects of tyre wear.
Okay, gap ahead is 3.1 seconds. You're gaining by 8 tenths. 8 tenths. They're on old mediums. Their tyres are 10 laps old. The time last lap was a 1 minute 11.0. Gap to car in front is 0.0 seconds. The gap to the car behind is 2.3 seconds.
So now it's pretty much a battle here for position here, because Laggy hasn't got any penalty. We'll get another update to Berserk.
The gap behind us is 1.9 seconds. They're on old mediums. Their tyres are 8 laps old. The time last lap was a 1:10.8. They have a time penalty of 3.0.
Okay, so he's still got that 3-second time penalty. Is now, I think HO's now come in and, I mean, he's one that only pissed off, and I did predict he would. But I did think he would come out actually on the super soft tyres, so he's come out in a fairly decent position actually for HO, so a fairly decent job there. So he'll have some, well and truly a hell of a lot of speed here on the set of super soft tyres here, but we'll get an update.
The gap to the car ahead is 2.8 seconds. You're gaining by 1.6 seconds a lap. They're on fresh super softs. Their tyres are 1 lap old. The time last lap was a 1 minute 24.4. They have a time penalty of 3.0. Our gap to the car in front is 3.1 seconds. Okay, the gap behind is 1.5 seconds.
That message was probably going to be Dylan Buckley's anyway, because HO just got past Laggy there. So you can tell those super soft tyres are working really well for HO. He'll be a rocker coming into the race. His fans, there's a little look up the inside. Here's a little bit of contact there between he and Ryan into turn 1. That's the ideal. I mean, there's nothing worth fighting for in the championship anyway, but you can see H actually set the pace with the fastest lap of the of the race, and actually we set a personal best of ourselves as we begin lap 26 there. But back we go, because there's pretty much not much happening on my screen. Here we go again with Fens and New Zealand Ryan. Fens trying to go around the long way around here into turn 1. Trying to do a bit of a crisscross here. Gets a good drive out of here, which is it's pretty even between these two. And like I mentioned before, Rain behind is pretty much the watching brief here. So if these two tangle in this latter part of the races, then he's going to be there ready and waiting. There's a little bit, look at that, tyres literally banging there, a little bit, tiny bit, not too much, but Ryan just manages to squeeze ahead for the time being, and Fens has to back out of it a little bit there. But like I mentioned, Rain's the watching brief there, so I mean, anything's possible there. And there's the first time penalty, which, I mean, I wasn't thrilled at the time, to be honest, but
you've been awarded a time penalty for that last incident.
I did put a challenge on myself that I wouldn't get another penalty for this race, another warning for this race, but anyway, it is what it is. There's, okay. Fens gets a time penalty for crossing the pit lane exit. Okay. That's a weird one. It was one of the McLarens that was off the road there, but this is on to lap 30 here with, again, this battle here with Ryan and Fens. Oh, there's a little bit of contact there, a little bit too close for comfort there for Fens. Well, for Ryan, for that matter. I think Ryan would have been too thrilled with that one. There's a weird yellow flag ahead here. It's again trying to go around a long way around here. A little bit of, just not enough tiny touches anyway, but you can see trying to get a decent run here again, down the back straight or here into turn 4. Now Fens is going to try and do what Ryan did a couple of times. So nearly squeezed him out there. So there's a little bit of a shove there, and Ryan pushes him wide there, so Fens are going to have to do that all that hard work again. But remember I said that yellow dot has been on there for quite a while now. I think that is actually Calbo. He's now actually out of the race, but Calbo has been in the pit lane for about, well, I think end of lap 17, I think it was, when he came in the pit lane. I was thinking at the time, is he stuck in the pit lane?
The gap to the car behind is 1.6 seconds.
And I think he confirmed it afterwards that he had a nice pit lane glitch. So now, obviously, he's out of the race, been stuck in there for 13 odd laps, which would have been a nightmare, really. But pace-wise, it didn't feel too bad. It's another personal best on that lap, and we're starting to close the gap a little bit to Laggy. We're still keeping a decent gap behind as well to Mars Berserk, just keeping him out of the DRS zone, which was an added bonus.
Our gap to the car in front is 2.9 seconds. You're falling back by 1/10 a lap. They're on old mediums. The time last lap was a 1:10.7. They have a time penalty of 3.0. Okay, gap to leader, 16.5 seconds.
We're still setting personal best lap times at the current moment.
Gap to car in front is 2.3 seconds.
This is where probably we really started to push maybe just a tiny bit more here, because you can see the tyre wear. I mean, it wasn't too bad coming on to lap 33 now, but I knew Laggy had come in a lap earlier, so I knew for a fact that his tyres were going to literally die off a little bit longer, a little bit more compared to mine. And I sort of been a little bit pushing, a little bit tyre saving as well. So that was probably a key there. It's just I had enough tyre grip for later on. You see Laggy his rear end was being lost out, losing the rear end, I should say.
We've only got 2 laps of fuel left.
As he coming through the first couple of corners there, but now we're really into his DRS range actually, so now we're really starting to close the gap here, and I mean it was key probably to get past Laggy as quickly as possible, because if we kept battling for a little bit, if we went for too long, then Berserk will be just ready and waiting there, and he's not too far behind either. So just sort of trying to think of a spot where we can make this move stick, because we're not really quite close enough here going into turn 10. We are really closing in here, and I think he said afterwards that his tyre wear was really starting to struggle later on in the race here, but we'll see if we can get a good run here. Just misses the apex there, this Laggy. We have a little bit of a back end slip there coming out of turn 12 there, but There's probably a couple of opportunities here as we begin the last lap here of the Brazilian Grand Prix, the last lap of Season 4 of AOR Oceania. One spot was going to be turn 1 here, trying to go around the long way around here, but well, then realised probably that wasn't going to work out at all. But the next opportunity was going to be turn 4 here, and well, to be honest, I was expecting a bit of a fight there from Balagi, but I think he's, like you said later on, that the tyres wear was really starting to kick in for him. So we're going to have the inside here, get the DRS, get the move done. May have given him a little bit of a squeeze there to him there as well, but yeah, I did apologise to him afterwards as well for that one, where I maybe squeezed him a little bit too much there, because I didn't want to feel like maybe getting a penalty, especially later on in the season there. But there's obviously a yellow flag there. You see the graphic on the top left that New Zealand Ryan's dropped all the way from, well, pretty much the race lead to now 5th. So I was wondering what on earth is going on at this stage. You can see, look at him, he's really, he's coming down this the downhill stretch here, and this is a bit of an awkward moment here, as I didn't know what was going to happen with the rejoin here, but we're going to gain an extra spot here, and I think he maybe held up with Laggy a little bit there coming around the final couple of doors, but I think, barring any penalties, we're going to come across the line to take P5 and get our best ever result in AOR Oceania F1. Albeit, yes, we did get an equal result back at what was it, Belgium, but obviously Top Banter got his penalties removed, so we had to settle for P6, which was the equal best result. Oh, there's a little bit of a touch there. This is on lap 35, so I mean, yes, fans maybe trying to end the season on a high with a last win. Well, not last ditch win, but the win we could say. But this is on the final lap here, so let's see what happens here. So, oh, it's a little bit too close for comfort there. There's a Ryan pretty much sliding into turn 1 there, and don't know whether fans really noticed at that stage whether Ryan was closing the door or whatnot. He tries to go up the inside here and go around the long way around here. Like I said, if these two collide, a little bit more contact there as he tries to switch back here. As Rain, if these two tangle ahead, then Rain is pretty much there and waiting to pounce. So as he come into turn 4, as Ryan just lose the rear end. And there's probably a good reason for that one, as I think he actually got a puncture a bit later on in the race. But you see Fence is going to come across the line and take the victory, but it's actually going to be Rain that takes the victory because of the 3-second time penalty that Fens had. So we'll check the final pony out in a second here, but I was keeping an eye as well on my teammate, because he's actually going to score his first ever points at his, well, you could say his birth of country here, as he comes across the line in position 9 as McLaren actually goes flying there. Even when I watched the footage back and even watched the live stream back with AOR Charlie and Poms on the win, even Charlie knew that the McLaren went flying there, but I think that may have been Kiowas that went flying, not Conrad there. I could be completely wrong there, but you see Matt joins the chorus of crashed cars there, and he actually got a right front puncture there, so yeah, a bit of a shame, a bit of a sad way to end for Matt there in position 12. But like I said, Rain takes the victory and takes his first ever AOR F1 victory, albeit, yes, he's probably won a couple of races in AOR F2 back in, I think, season 3. Where he made the jump back up into the top tier. But this is his first actual victory in F1 tier, so a big congratulations to him. I mean, he was just sitting there patiently and waiting for the top guys to battle it out, and in the end, they obviously, well, I mean, Ryan had these tyre puncture. It turned out to be a punctured tyre for New Zealand Ryan, so hence why he's ended up in position 7 there. But Rain, Fens, and HO get onto the podium. Death Bro, great result from him in P4. Obviously, us, best ever result in AOR F1 in P5 ahead of Master Berserk, New Zealand Ryan, like I mentioned. Laggy in 8th. My teammate, like I mentioned, even though he's in the Mercedes, finished up in P9, gets his first ever points in his home country of birth. So, great job for him. And Conrad gets the final point for the season. So, yeah, great job all round for him, as we just seen all the amount of warnings that these guys got here. So, you know, I wasn't really sure at the time what Fens maybe got the penalty for. But there's the final championship results on your screen. So you can see in the end, Fens obviously he's wrapped up the championship back in Japan, but you can it's 183 points just ahead of HO at 147. So what's that? That's not quite 40 points. I really need to do math a bit more often. But It's 40, no, hang on, not quite, 34 points. No, that's not right. 37 points maybe ahead of those two, but Alan Hugo third, lagging in fourth, New Zealand Ryan fifth, Death Bro, then Rain, Top Banter, Master Berserk, and myself, we actually finished up inside the top 10. And obviously, with that win, Rain jumped up into P7, so great job for him. Matt, obviously, finishing up in the 11th position. Again, apologies to Matt if that little bump was a little bit too much, but didn't really like the bump earlier on. But anyway, the other results there, you can see Prez ended up in position 12, R8 in position number 13. My teammate, obviously getting these first points, jumps up into position 14, just ahead of RBR, who of course didn't finish the season because of his a little bit poor internet quality. But anyway, Conrad gets also 2 points as well, but finishes up in 16th. And the only two guys to not score were Kaiwas and Calbo, who remain on the 0. So anyway, constructors-wise, obviously Ferrari did wrap up the Constructors' Championship way back in Japan as well, so that was already done and dusted. Sauber finished up in position 2. What was the final total? Not quite. 27 points or something or rather along those lines. But anyway, Mercedes end up in position 3, just a singular point ahead of Haas. So there was pretty much nothing between those guys. So, I mean, that win with Rain and obviously position 6 for Laggy definitely helped out. Force India dropped all the way back to position 5. Obviously, they were in for the fight for the constructors earlier on the season, but obviously with Big Chungus not taking part in the final few races, that probably hurt them a little bit. But Williams end up in P6. They're pretty much on their own in the end. But Toro Rosso, we end up in position 7 and got a healthy margin, actually, with a nice 28 points. Ahead of Red Bull, finish up on 17 points. Then Renault in the 9th. And McLaren, even though they've still got 2 points, they do finish up in 10th position. But there's the final proper championship positions. If you want to know where everybody finished throughout the whole season, that's on your screen right now. But must say a big thank you to everybody for taking part in AOR Oceania for season number 4. It's been a lot of fun with all the drivers that took part in this season. Obviously, to all the AOR gang that put up with that put together these leagues, it's an incredible job all around. And I mean, it's obviously my first season as well, being the top tier coordinator. Obviously, I was the F2 coordinator for the first 3 seasons, but now obviously it made the step up into the top tier as Harry decided to leave being the coordinator and maybe focus a bit more on his driving a little bit. But hopefully we see Harry back in season 5, perhaps. But yeah, sure, we may have had a few little issues along the way. Obviously, this round, and I think back at Germany, there were a few little niggling issues, but we did get there in the end. So big thanks to those guys, to the guys for putting up with me throughout that whole season. But what else do I need to say? A big thank you to the commentators and the streamer for doing a great job as always. Obviously, we had AOR Charlie pretty much do the majority of the races, and of course, Poms when he was available to co-commentate with Charlie. He was there, so great job from Poms in his first, you can say first season commentating. And also Jess as well, who's doing the streaming side of it as well. Big thank you to those guys for giving up their time for the AOR Oceania side, and hopefully we'll see them back again in future seasons. And also big thank you to everybody who sent me footage to add to these videos. I mean, it probably wouldn't be much. I mean, it probably still had my perspective, but it'd be a little bit boring because you wouldn't know what's going on up the front anyway. But also a big thank you to everybody for watching these videos as well. Obviously, it still gives me the motivation. Still, obviously, I need to do a little bit more work to get the videos out a bit more on time compared to these videos, because obviously they are well and truly late than normal anyway. But obviously, I'll try my absolute best for season number 5, because I will be back for AOR season number 5, even though I didn't announce my, well, you could say, semi-retirement from SRL. I still will be taking part in AOR. That was pretty much the main goal here for now on here, and put my focus into that one a little bit more. But yeah, I don't think there's really much else to say. If you did enjoy the finale round, be sure to give it a big smash on that like button. As always, you can leave your comments down below. Subscribe to my channel for plenty more F1 league racing action on F1 2019 it'll be, because this was the last round, obviously, on F1 2018, and it was pretty. I think most of us were pretty glad to get rid of the game, me included. I did put a video up on Twitter the moment after the race finished that I just pretty much uninstalling F1 2018, because it did have its fair share of glitches along the way. So anyway, what else is there? Plus, there's plenty more video gaming content as well on my channel. Hopefully to bring out a bit more different bit of footage, different bit of videos as well for you guys and girls. So be sure to keep an eye on that for that one. But as always, all my social media links. If you haven't followed me, then be sure to get all the links will be down in the description below for the Facebook page, my Twitter, my Instagram. Plus, there'll be the links as well for the AOR forums and the YouTube channel, and plus the AOR Twitter. So be sure to check them out as well. So not exactly sure when season 5 signups will begin, but be sure to keep an eye on the AOR Twitter channel, Twitter page, just to be sure. And I'll probably say something as well on my Twitter to say like when the signups are open and when time trials and what dates and whatnot they'll begin. Anyway, but just if you haven't followed me on Twitter, just hit the follow button anyway. But anyway, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So until the next season of AOR Oceania, it's season number 5. It is goodbye, and I'll see you all next time.